You have a friend who makes you smaller. Not all the time, not in obvious ways that would make ending it simple, but in moments that accumulate like water damage behind a wall. You notice the way they interrupt your stories to tell their own, how they describe your achievements with faint praise that somehow sounds like criticism, the subtle eye roll when you express excitement about something, the jokes at your expense that everyone laughs at while you smile and pretend it does not land like a fist in your stomach. You tell yourself you are being too sensitive. You remind yourself of the good times, the history you share, the moments when they were there for you. And yet, if you are honest, truly honest in the privacy of your own mind, you know something is deeply wrong. You know that when you leave their presence, you feel diminished. You know that you edit yourself around them, that you have learned to make yourself less threatening, less successful, less bright. You know that you have accepted a role in this friendship that requires you to be smaller than you are. And what disturbs you most is not just that this is happening, but that you, someone who considers yourself good, someone who values dignity and kindness, someone who would never treat another person this way, have somehow agreed to it. You have tried to understand this. You have made excuses, reframed incidents, blamed yourself for being too needy or too proud. You have wondered if maybe you deserve this treatment somehow, if there is something about you that invites diminishment. And the question that haunts you, the one you barely let yourself think, is this: why do I stay? What I am going to show you is something that has nothing to do with your goodness, and everything to do with how human beings navigate the terrible space between connection and dignity, between the fear of abandonment and the slow death of accepting less than you deserve. This is not about your worth. It is about the mechanisms that make even worthy people compromise their own dignity. And once you see these mechanisms clearly, you will understand that the friendship that humiliates you is not a friendship at all. Let us begin with a simple observation that Arendt would have appreciated. We do not wake up one morning and decide to accept humiliation from a friend. The process is far more insidious, far more ordinary than that. It happens through a series of small concessions, each one seeming reasonable in isolation, each one justified by context or history or hope. The first time they dismiss your feelings, you think maybe you misunderstood. The second time they take credit for your idea, you tell yourself it does not matter who gets recognized. The third time they cancel plans at the last minute without apology, you decide to be understanding because everyone is busy. And gradually, almost imperceptibly, you have trained yourself to expect less and less, until what was once unthinkable, being treated as if your feelings do not matter, your time has no value, your presence is only worthwhile when it serves their needs, has become normal. This is how tyranny operates on the smallest scale. Not through dramatic declarations, but through the normalization of the unacceptable, one incident at a time, until you have forgotten what it felt like to be treated as an equal. What makes this particularly painful for people who see themselves as good is the cognitive dissonance it creates. You are someone who values kindness, respect, mutual care. You pride yourself on being loyal, on seeing the best in people, on not being petty or vengeful. These qualities are real. They are genuinely part of who you are. But here is what you have not understood: the very qualities that make you good, your capacity for forgiveness, your willingness to give people the benefit of the doubt, your loyalty even when it costs you. These same qualities can be weaponized by someone who does not share your values. A truly reciprocal friendship is built on mutual respect, where both people extend grace and understanding to each other. But what you are in is not that. What you are in is a relationship where you extend grace while they take advantage, where you give the benefit of the doubt while they act with impunity, where you remain loyal while they feel free to diminish you whenever it suits them. You have been operating as if you are in a friendship while they have been operating as if they are in a hierarchy, and in that hierarchy, you are beneath them. The question is why? Why would someone you call friend treat you this way? And perhaps more importantly, why would you accept it? Let us take the second question first, because it is the one that matters most for your freedom. You accept it because human beings will tolerate almost anything to avoid the terror of being alone. This is not weakness. This is fundamental to the human condition. We are social creatures. We are built for connection. The fear of abandonment, of being cast out, of losing the few people who know us. This fear runs so deep that it operates below conscious awareness. It is primal. When you imagine ending this friendship, what comes up is not relief, even though relief should be the natural response to ending something that hurts you. What comes up is fear. Fear that you will not find another friend to replace them. Fear that you are too difficult or demanding. Fear that maybe they are right about you. That maybe you are too sensitive, too needy, too much. And so you stay. You stay because the pain you know feels safer than the uncertainty of being alone. But there is something else happening here, something more subtle and more devastating. You stay because you still believe in potential. You remember who this person was when you first became friends, or you can imagine who they could be if circumstances were different, if they were less stressed, if you were better at communicating, if you could just find the right way to make them see how much they hurt you. Hope is a beautiful thing when it is connected to reality, but hope unmoored from evidence becomes a trap. You are hoping for a version of this person who does not exist or who exists only in brief flashes, and you are sacrificing the reality of your dignity for the possibility of a transformation that is not coming. This is not faith, this is delusion, and it is costing you your self-respect. If this perspective is opening something up for you, consider subscribing. I explore these territories every week, and I would love to have you along for the journey. Now we must look at the friend themselves, though I hesitate to use that word because what I am about to describe is not friendship. Friendship, in any meaningful sense, requires a basic foundation of mutual regard. It requires that both people see the other as fundamentally equal in worth and dignity, even if they differ in circumstances or abilities. What you are experiencing is not that. What you are experiencing is someone who has positioned themselves above you, who derives something from the dynamic of your diminishment. This is not usually conscious. Most people who behave this way do not wake up and think about how they will humiliate someone today. It is far more banal than that. They simply follow the patterns that have worked for them, patterns that often originated in their own experience of being diminished. When someone makes you feel small, they are often trying to escape the feeling of their own smallness. When someone needs to position themselves above you, it is because they feel fundamentally beneath. This does not excuse their behavior. Understanding is not absolution. But it helps you see that what is happening between you is not really about you at all. You are serving a function in their psychological economy. You are the person they can feel superior to, the person who will take it, the person who will not leave no matter how they treat you. And by staying, you are confirming what they need to believe about the hierarchy that gives their life structure. I know many of you watching this have never told anyone what you are really experiencing in this friendship. You have been carrying this alone, maybe for years, convincing yourself it is not that bad or that you are overreacting. But here is what I want you to understand. The moment you name this, the moment you acknowledge out loud, even just in a comment, that you are in a friendship that diminishes you, something shifts. You stop being alone with it. So let me ask you directly, how long have you been accepting this treatment? When did you first notice that this person makes you feel worse about yourself rather than better? I want you to share in the comments, not because I need engagement, but because someone else watching this needs to see your words. They need to know they are not the only one. And if you cannot find the words right now, if it feels too heavy to articulate, just type this. This is my experience too. That is it. Just those 4 words. Because when you do, you create permission for dozens of others to say it too. Your honesty, your willingness to be seen in your struggle, it helps break the silence that keeps all of us isolated in these painful dynamics. So comment below. Tell me where you are in this. I read every single one, and I promise you, you are not alone in what you are feeling. What Arendt understood about the human condition was that we exist in both private and public realms, and the tension between these realms shapes how we understand ourselves. In the private realm, in the space of your own thoughts and feelings, you know this friendship is wrong. You know you deserve better. You know the way they treat you is not acceptable. But in the public realm, in the space where this friendship is visible to others, you maintain the performance. You laugh at their jokes even when they are at your expense. You defend them when others question their behavior. You present the relationship as solid, as meaningful, as something worth maintaining. This split between what you know privately and what you perform publicly creates a kind of psychic dissonance that is exhausting. It requires you to constantly manage two contradictory realities, and over time, this management becomes so habitual that you lose track of which reality is true. The private knowing gets quieter and quieter until the public performance is all that remains. And you have successfully gaslighted yourself into believing that what you experience as humiliation is actually just normal friendship friction. This is where we must talk about something uncomfortable. Good people, people who pride themselves on their kindness and loyalty, are particularly vulnerable to this kind of exploitation precisely because of their goodness. If you were selfish, if you were calculating, if you evaluated relationships based purely on what you gain from them, you would have left long ago. But you are not that. You believe in showing up for people. You believe in forgiveness. You believe in being the kind of friend you wish you had. And so you stay. And you keep giving and you keep making excuses, and the person across from you keeps taking. Because why would they stop when there are no consequences? You have taught them through your acceptance that they can treat you however they want, and you will still be there. You have trained them in how little they need to give to keep you. This is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to understand so you can stop perpetuating it. Let me tell you what friendship actually is, because I suspect you have forgotten. Friendship is not about history. It is not about how long you have known someone. It is not about shared experiences or mutual friends or the convenience of having someone to text. Friendship is about mutual recognition of each other's full humanity. It is about seeing the other person as separate from you, with their own valid experiences, feelings, needs, and boundaries, and choosing to honor those things even when it is inconvenient. Friendship is about reciprocity, not in a transactional sense where you keep score, but in the deeper sense that both people are invested in the well-being and flourishing of the other. Friendship is about trust, the ability to be vulnerable without fear of that vulnerability being used against you. And friendship requires a baseline of respect that is non-negotiable. Without respect, whatever you have, it is not friendship. It might be a habit, it might be a dynamic, it might be a relationship of convenience or exploitation or codependence. But it is not friendship. What you need to understand is that the person who humiliates you does not respect you. This is not a judgment. It is an observation of fact. Respect means treating someone as if their feelings matter, as if their dignity is important, as if their presence has value beyond what it provides for you. When someone makes jokes at your expense in front of others, they are telling you and everyone present that your feelings do not matter as much as their moment of entertainment. When someone dismisses your achievements, they are telling you that your success threatens something in them, and they need you to stay small so they can feel big. When someone cancels on you repeatedly without apology, they are telling you that your time has no value compared to theirs. These are not failures of communication. These are demonstrations of how they see you, and how they see you is as beneath them. The reason you have not left is not because you lack courage or self-respect, though I know it feels that way. The reason you have not left is because leaving requires you to face several painful truths simultaneously, and human beings will do almost anything to avoid facing painful truths. You would have to face the truth that you wasted time and emotional energy on someone who did not value you. You would have to face the truth that the story you told yourself about this friendship was not accurate. You would have to face the truth that you compromised your own dignity repeatedly, and no one forced you to do it. You would have to face the possibility that other people saw what you could not or would not see, that they watched you diminish yourself and wondered why you stayed. And perhaps most painful of all, you would have to face the fear that maybe you are not good at choosing people, that maybe your judgment is flawed, that maybe you will end up alone because you cannot tell the difference between someone who cares about you and someone who uses you. These truths are heavy. They are so heavy that staying in the friendship feels easier, even though staying means continuing to be hurt. This is the terrible calculus of human relationships. We will accept known pain rather than face uncertain truth. But here is what you have not considered. By staying in this friendship, by continuing to accept treatment that diminishes you, you are not just hurting yourself. You are also participating in your own dehumanization. Arendt understood that human dignity is not something abstract. It is something that must be actively maintained through how we allow ourselves to be treated. Every time you accept disrespect, every time you laugh at a joke that hurts you, every time you make yourself smaller to accommodate someone else's need to feel bigger, you are sending a message to yourself about what you deserve. And that message, repeated over and over, becomes your reality. You become someone who deserves disrespect. Not because it is true, but because you have trained your nervous system to accept it as normal. This is how people lose themselves, not through dramatic abandonments, but through small repeated acceptances of the unacceptable until they no longer remember what it felt like to require respect as a baseline condition of connection. The way out is not through confrontation. You cannot make someone respect you by explaining how their behavior hurts you. If they valued your feelings, they would have already modified their behavior when they saw the impact. The fact that they continue to act in ways that hurt you tells you everything you need to know about whether they are capable of change. Some people are simply not equipped for the kind of friendship you need. Some people are so trapped in their own pain and their own need to feel superior that they cannot see you as fully human. This is sad for them, truly sad. But it is not your responsibility to sacrifice yourself in the hope that your suffering will somehow wake them up. It will not. What will happen instead is that you will become more and more hollowed out, more and more disconnected from your own sense of self, until you do not recognize the person you have become in order to maintain this relationship. The way out is through clarity, through seeing the situation exactly as it is without the distortions of hope or history or fear. This person treats you in ways that diminish your dignity. You have accepted this treatment because you are afraid of being alone. But what you have not understood is that you are already alone. You are alone with this person because they do not see you. They see a function, a role, someone who makes them feel better about themselves by comparison. Real companionship, real friendship, requires being seen, and you are not seen here. You are tolerated, you are used, you are maintained, but you are not seen, you are not valued, and you are not loved in any meaningful sense of that word. The loneliness you fear by leaving is the loneliness you already live with. The difference is that in one scenario, you are alone while constantly being reminded of your inadequacy. In the other, you are alone with the possibility of finding people who actually value you. Let me be clear about something. Ending this friendship will hurt. It will hurt because endings hurt even when they are necessary. It will hurt because you will have to grieve not just the loss of the person, but the loss of who you thought they were. The loss of the story you told yourself, the loss of the time you invested. It will hurt because you will have to face your own complicity in allowing this to continue for so long. But that hurt is temporary. That hurt is the hurt of healing, of setting a broken bone, of extracting something toxic. The hurt you are in now, the slow erosion of your self-respect, that hurt is permanent as long as you stay. That hurt compounds. That hurt becomes who you are. You have to choose which hurt you can live with, the sharp pain of a necessary ending, or the chronic pain of continuing degradation. What I am describing is not easy. In fact, it is one of the hardest things a person can do because it requires you to prioritize your own dignity over your fear of abandonment. It requires you to believe that you deserve basic respect, even though you have been conditioned to doubt that. It requires you to trust that there are better relationships available, even though you cannot see them yet. This is an act of faith, but it is not blind faith. It is faith grounded in the simple truth that any solitude is preferable to companionship that requires you to betray yourself. It is faith grounded in the reality that the energy you pour into this friendship, the emotional labor, the constant management, the self-editing, all of that could be redirected toward people who actually value you, or toward building a relationship with yourself that does not require external validation. You need to understand something about people who humiliate others. They do not do it because you deserve it. They do it because something in them is broken, something that has nothing to do with you. Maybe they were humiliated themselves. Maybe they learned early that the world is organized into hierarchies, and the only way to avoid being at the bottom is to put someone else there. Maybe they are so disconnected from their own feelings that they cannot imagine yours matter. The reasons do not actually matter, because the result is the same. They treat you in ways that no friend should treat another. And your goodness, your capacity for understanding, your willingness to see their pain, none of that will change them. You cannot love someone into respecting you. You cannot be so loyal that they finally recognize your worth. You cannot be so understanding that they stop needing to make you small. All you can do is recognize that what you are in is not what you thought it was, and then decide what you are going to do with that information. Here is what most people miss about situations like this. The problem is not that you chose wrong. The problem is not that there is something defective about you that attracts people who will treat you badly. The problem is that you have not learned to prioritize your own dignity over your fear of being alone. And until you learn that, you will keep finding yourself in variations of the same dynamic. Because people who humiliate others can sense who will accept it. They are not monsters, they are not consciously hunting for victims. They are simply following the path of least resistance. And if you are someone who will tolerate disrespect, who will make excuses, who will stay even when you are hurt, then you become the path of least resistance. This is not your fault, but it is your pattern. And patterns can be changed once you see them clearly. If what I am sharing here resonates with something you have been feeling, something you have not quite been able to name, then I want you to know you are not alone in this. There are many of us who have learned this lesson the hard way, who have stayed too long in relationships that diminished us, who have had to face the painful truth that our goodness was not enough to create goodness in return. I create these videos for people who are ready to go deeper, who are not satisfied with surface explanations, who want to understand the mechanisms that keep us trapped so we can become free. If that is you, consider subscribing, not because you need another channel to follow, but because this journey of understanding yourself, of learning to honor your own dignity, it helps to have companions along the way. People who will not offer you easy answers, but will help you see clearly. I will be here every week with another exploration, another perspective, another way of understanding the human condition that might help you navigate your own life with more clarity. And I would be honored to have you here as part of this community of people who are committed to living with integrity and consciousness. So if this feels right, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what resonated most with you or what your experience has been with this kind of dynamic. Your reflections help all of us understand more deeply. So what do? You begin by acknowledging the truth to yourself without immediately demanding action. You say clearly and simply, "This person does not treat me with respect. This friendship diminishes my dignity. I have been accepting this because I am afraid of being alone." Sit with these truths, feel them, let them be real without rushing to fix or leave or confront. Just let yourself know what you know. Then you begin to create distance, not necessarily physical distance, though that might come later, but psychological distance. You stop making yourself available whenever they call. You stop editing yourself to make them comfortable. You stop laughing at jokes that hurt you. You stop defending their behavior to others or to yourself. You simply start treating the relationship as what it is rather than what you wish it were. And then you watch. You watch how they respond when you stop playing the role they have assigned you. You watch whether they adjust their behavior or whether they escalate their attempts to pull you back into the familiar dynamic. You watch whether they notice that something has changed or whether they are so disconnected from your actual experience that they cannot even tell you are withdrawing. What you will likely find is that they double down. They become more demanding or more critical or more manipulative because the system that has worked for them is breaking down. This is when you will be most tempted to go back, to smooth things over, to return to the familiar pattern, because at least that pattern is known. Do not do it. Stay with the discomfort. Stay with the truth. Let the relationship be what it actually is without your constant effort to make it appear better than it is. Over time, one of two things will happen. Either they will realize something has changed and will actually work to repair the dynamic, which is possible but rare, or they will drift away because what they wanted from you, your acceptance of mistreatment, is no longer available. If they drift, let them. Do not chase. Do not explain. Do not give them one more chance to understand. They have had countless chances. Every time you tolerated their behavior was a chance for them to recognize and change. They did not take those chances, not because they did not understand, but because they did not need to. You were there regardless. Now you are not. And the friendship reveals itself as what it always was, a convenience for them and a compromise of dignity for you. The space that opens up when you release this relationship will feel empty at first. It will feel like failure. You will question your decision 1,000 times. You will remember the good moments and wonder if you were too harsh, too unforgiving, too demanding. This is normal. This is the grief of letting go not just of a person, but of your own investment in the story of that relationship. Sit with this grief. Let it move through you. But do not let it convince you to go back, because what you are grieving is not actually the friendship as it was. You are grieving the friendship as you hoped it would become. You are grieving your own innocence, the belief that if you were just good enough, loyal enough, understanding enough, you could make someone value you who was never going to. This is a painful lesson, but a necessary one. No amount of goodness on your part can create goodness in someone else. No amount of your dignity sacrificed can give dignity to someone who lacks it. All you can do is preserve your own, and sometimes that means walking away from people who make that preservation impossible. In time, the space will fill. Not immediately, not in ways you can force or predict, but it will fill. You will find that you have energy you did not know you had. Energy that was going into managing that relationship, into repairing your sense of self after each diminishment, into maintaining the story that everything was fine. That energy becomes available for other things, for friendships that are actually reciprocal, for interests you set aside, for a relationship with yourself that does not require constant defense against someone else's need to make you small. And slowly, gradually, you will remember what it feels like to be seen, to be valued, to be treated as if your presence matters, not because you have changed, but because you have stopped accepting relationships that require you to be less than you are. This is the paradox at the heart of this whole situation. You stayed in that friendship because you thought it made you a good person. You thought your loyalty, your forgiveness, your willingness to see the best in someone, these were virtues. And they are virtues when they are extended in context of mutual respect. But when they are extended in context of exploitation, they become vices. They become the mechanism of your own diminishment. True goodness requires discernment. It requires the ability to distinguish between relationships that deserve your loyalty and relationships that are using your loyalty against you. It requires you to understand that walking away from someone who hurts you is not a failure of compassion, but an expression of self-respect. And self-respect is not selfishness. It is the foundation of genuine relationship, because you cannot truly connect with others if you are not connected to your own worth. So we return to where we began, to you sitting with the knowledge that this friendship diminishes you, wondering what to do. Now you know. Now you see the mechanisms, the fear of loneliness that keeps you accepting less, the confusion of hope with evidence, the way your goodness has been used against you, the public performance that contradicts private knowing, the gradual normalization of the unacceptable. You see all of it, and seeing it clearly, you cannot unsee it. This is both the gift and the burden of consciousness. Once you know you are responsible for what you know, you can no longer pretend ignorance. You can no longer tell yourself it is not that bad, or that you are overreacting. You know this person does not respect you. You know this relationship requires you to compromise your dignity, and now you have to decide what you are going to do with that knowledge. The answer, I suspect, is already forming in you, has perhaps been forming for a long time beneath your awareness. You are going to choose yourself, not because you are selfish, but because you are worthy. Not because you are giving up on this person, but because you are refusing to give up on yourself. And in that choice, in that small, courageous act of prioritizing your own dignity over your fear of abandonment, you will discover what has been true all along. You were never the problem. The friendship was. And now finally you are free to find what friendship actually is.